What's up, everybody? V-Rock here, and welcome to the V-Rock Report. Now, I'm going to address the Tyre Nichols brutal beating that happened at the hands of Memphis police officers on January 7th, 2023. Now, the cops, they thought that Tyre Nichols was under the suspicion of reckless driving. Now, honestly, I don't think that there was any evidence of Tyre Nichols causing reckless driving. I think the cops targeted Tyre Nichols and used a pretextual stop to stop him, drag him out of the car. Dragging somebody out of the car is a violation of civil rights. You don't open somebody's car and just yank the person out without telling them what they're being stopped for. And certainly, there's no rhyme or reason that the cops had to start attacking Tyre Nichols like a pack of wild dogs trying to tear apart their prey. I mean, these cops were just going ham on the guy, beating on him, and I don't recommend running from the cops, but in Tyre Nichols' defense of his case, he had every reason to run. He was in fear for his life. He needed to get away from those violent maniac cops, and he did so. Now, they chased him down and caught up with him later on and continued to beat the ever-loving snot out of him some more after he was already in handcuffs. There was no reason for those officers to do that to Tyre Nichols. How dare police officers treat another human being that way, treating them like a sack of garbage. Total disregard for human life, these officers did. It's absolutely horrible. It's horrifying. It's disgusting. I watched the video. It is way worse than the 1992 Rodney King beating. The only difference is Rodney King survived. Tyre Nichols, on the other hand, he went to the hospital and died on January 10th, 2023. It's a shame that Tyre Nichols died. He was a unarmed civilian that did absolutely nothing wrong. There was no reason for the police to act the way that they did towards him. I don't care if those officers were part of the Scorpion Task Force unit. Police in general have no reason to be acting that way towards civilians. Absolutely absurd for cops to act that way. It's a disgrace to police departments all over the United States. Where do police departments get these psychopathic maniac cops? Well, they get them from the academies, but we'll get to that very shortly. My heart goes out to the family of Tyre Nichols. He did not deserve to be brutally, savagely beaten the way that he was. There's no excuse for that. There's no justifiable reason for those officers to do that. So my heart goes out to the family. And The officers that did that brutal beating, they were held accountable. They were fired, arrested, and charged with second-degree murder and other felony charges, kidnapping and other stuff. So that's nice that they were held accountable, but it's not enough. It's not enough. More action needs to happen. I'm calling for action. I'm calling for a change in policing as a whole. We have a police system currently that is too broken. It can't be fixed. Police reform just does not work. We need something else. We need something different. We need to tear down the old police system and build a brand new police system. And this brand new police system would have brand new academies, brand new police teachers or police instructors, teaching cadets the Constitution, basic civil rights, citizens' rights, and also teaching the law. In addition to that, less focus on defensive tactics, more focus on de-escalation and how to resolve issues without resorting to violence. And also mental health evaluations for officers. Because we can't have nutcases running around with a badge and a gun thinking it's okay for them to violently attack citizens. So we need change, and we need it fast. We need cops to know the Constitution. We need cops to know basic civil rights. We need cops to know how to do their job properly by learning the actual written laws. They even need to learn some case laws, like Smith versus Cummings, Brown v. Texas, Turner versus Driver, among several other case laws. That's just to name a few. We cannot have officers just running around with animalistic bloodlust for violence. As it is right now, law enforcement officers are a complete and utter danger to society. We have cops that think they can do whatever they want and not suffer any consequences. Well, with this brand new police system, they won't be able to get away with whatever they want to do. Cops need to be held accountable. Just like anybody else that commits a crime needs to be held accountable. I honestly think police in general should not have any qualified immunity whatsoever. And this whole mentality mindset that the police have, this them versus us, police versus citizens and everyone else mindset, needs to be abolished. Not everyone that the police interact with is a threat. But the academies teach these cadets that, oh, us versus them, us versus them, us versus them. It's like a cult brainwashing that these academies teach the police versus citizens and everyone else mentality mindset. They teach them to perceive everyone as a threat. when not everyone is a threat. It's absolutely disgusting how police officers treat citizens in this day and age. It's very deplorable. Very, very deplorable. You know, we used to have policing where it was protect and serve. Protect and serve has gone out the window. Now it's harass and attack. That's what policing has become. It's become very, very, very toxic. And we need change in policing as a whole. Because the current police system we have right now, something is very, very wrong with it. And we need a new police system very, very fast. We can't have officers acting the way that they acted towards George Floyd in Minneapolis. We can't have officers that acted the way that they did towards Tyre Nichols in Memphis. We can't have officers, period, acting the way that these tyrants act. So, we need change. We need it fast. And you know what? Police academies in this day and age, they don't teach the Constitution. They don't teach basic civil rights. They don't teach the law to the officer cadets. No, they don't. The time that is spent for cadets in the academy is 6 months. Unless it's Georgia, then it's 3 months. We need to extend the time that cadets spend in the academy so they can get the proper training. We need cadets to spend 2 to 4 years in the academy so they can learn their job correctly. So they can't act like maniacs. So, policing as a whole, it needs to change. I'm calling for change. If anyone wants to stand with me, feel free to do so. I've seen countless videos of police officers violating people's rights, attacking people, being unprofessional towards people. This type of behavior needs to stop. It's unacceptable. And something needs to be done about it. Police officers need to learn a very, very valuable lesson here. They can't do whatever they want and not suffer any consequences with these animalistic maniac actions, these tyrant-like actions. No, officers cannot act that way. And it's time we change policing as a whole. Build a brand new system. Get rid of the old system. I can't say it enough. It's a shame what happened to Tyre Nichols. It should have never happened. The cops should have just left him alone. If they had left him alone, then there would be no incident. But we could only imagine that in a perfect world. We don't live in a perfect world. Here in reality, we live in an unperfect world. It's a shame what happened. And I am very, very outraged about what these officers did. Now, justice has been served to the officers, but Police departments all over the United States need to learn that actions like those 5 officers did in Memphis is unacceptable. And if any bad behaving officer to that level in any police department around all 50 states is going to act like that, then those officers definitely should be fired. We cannot have bad cops in our society. But we do. We have bad apples. And trying to separate the bad apples from the good apples is getting pretty difficult. So that's why we're going to need to tear down the old policing system and build a brand new one. And like I said before, that mentality that officers have of us versus them, police versus citizens, and everyone else, that needs to be abolished. Like 100%. It's absolutely unimaginable that officers of the law would commit these heinous acts of doing these things to human beings that have absolutely done nothing wrong. We hear about shootings of unarmed people from officers that got trigger happy. We hear about taser incidents. We hear about beatings. We hear all these things that police officers do to innocent people. Sometimes they do horrible things to criminals. But it seems like more often officers of the law are doing horrific things to citizens, and it needs to stop. It absolutely needs to stop. There's no justification for what happened to Tyre Nichols. Now, I understand the family wants everyone to protest peacefully in every city. That's fine. But we still need change in policing as a whole. That's what I'm calling for. And you know what? If officers cannot, and I mean cannot, resolve issues without violence, then what? What do? Take the baton, take the taser, take the sidearm away from the police? I highly doubt that we're going to take the weapons away from the police officers. So that's why we need to change policing as a whole. Or we could adopt the policing style that England has, where police officers on patrol are not armed. And armed police officers are like secondary. I highly doubt that we're going to resort to that. So we need to tear down the old police system and build a brand new one. Because we're not going to take the weapons of the police away. And we're not going to use the England style of policing. This is America. We need to get a hold on the actions of our American police departments and its officers. Because we can't have psychopathic, animalistic maniacs running around with a badge and a gun, thinking that this type of behavior is okay for them to do. Because what happened to Tyre Nichols, that's not policing. That was more like a gang-style beatdown. In today's day and age, police officers are way too out of control. And something needs to be done about it. This has been the V-Rock Report. Follow, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything that I upload. You can also check me out live streaming on Bigo Live, screen name V-Rock. You can also check me out live streaming on Twitch at VRock720. You can also follow me on social media, Twitter and Instagram, both VRock720. You can check out my public Facebook page. The URL is VRockGames720. And if you would like to support the work that I do, feel free to do so in two different ways. Number one, if you want to drop tips directly through PayPal, feel free to do so. The link is paypal.me/VRock721, or the highly suggested Patreon. I've got all kinds of cool perks and merchandise there. My link to Patreon is www.patreon.com/VRockGames. Now, I've already gone to Twitter and spoke about this in tweets. It's getting some attention, but it is time for change in policing. All links are in each video description. Peace out.